Welcome back to another episode of the Rock Solid Sports Podcast. Today is Tuesday, July 2nd, and Alex Pereira might be the face of the UFC.
Yeah, it's starting to look like it. It seems like every fight he goes into, he's automatically the favorite, and it looks throughout the entire fight that the other guy fighting him has just no chance of even getting close to stopping him. So it's starting to trend that way for sure, but Saturday definitely helped, so yeah. I think it's just going to keep going, too.
Now number 2 on the pound-for-pound rankings. So NBA free agency, NBA draft, maybe a controversial pick. We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
And a couple announcements at the end. Let's get into it.
We gonna make it, baby.
Welcome back to this week's episode of the Rock Solid Sports Podcast. We had an exciting fight this weekend.
Yes, we did.
A whole exciting card, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was so close to winning my first bet in what feels like 17 years. But
You've been betting for 17 years?
Yeah, it feels like it.
Okay.
Not for monetary reasons, but it feels like I've been throwing bets down my whole life.
Yeah.
But it was a really good string of fights. The first one with Gary, or at least at the main card, which is, I guess, all we really care about. The first one, main card with Gary, that one was really good. I don't necessarily agree with how it ended. I kind of seemed like all of us watching it at the time kind of tracked MVP for having won more rounds than him. We knew it was close, but the last 2 rounds kind of felt like they belonged to Michael Page. So, but, shout out to Gary. He got it done. There was at least one Irishman who ended up walking away with a victory that night. So he did good. And then kind of the bigger upset of the night, this is where my bet lost, was with Silva versus Macy. That sucked. I mean, she was losing that fight. Like, Silva was going to win that fight by every single round. She might have even ended up making her tap or knock her out. But just one solid bow to the brow, cut her wide open, and that was the end of the fight. And
disgusting.
Really gross.
And that was the only fight that I lost, and I hated it because it would have won. It would have continued, and I'd be 150 up. But that's the past. You got to forget about it. But,
Ian Gary pulled off another win. He's still undefeated. I think Dana White even agreed with you that if they even called it a draw, that he would have been happy with this decision, because he even said, he was like, I think Ian Gary won the first round, or MVP won the second round, or vice versa. I forget what he said exactly. And then he said, that third round could have went either way, and it did go 29-28 Ian Gary. Barely. I think we all were kind of speculative of what was going to be that final decision, especially when we were waiting those couple minutes for them to decide. But yeah, Ian Gary remains undefeated. He has been talking a lot since that win, so we'll see if he could hold it up. That Silva Macy fight, absolutely disgusting cut above the eye. That was one of the grossest cuts I've seen in the UFC.
Yeah, I think it pissed her off too, because you could tell by the way she was walking around and acting, she was fine. Like, there was no, like, if it wasn't as open as it was, she would have been flying colors to keep going. But, like, I'm saying, like, if it didn't get cut like it did, like, you can't continue that.
I agree. No, I 100% agree.
Yeah, you can't continue that fight the way it looked. But I think if it was just not as bad and it was just like a little open, they could have, like, closed it a little bit somehow. Like, I think she could have kept going. But I think it's one of those McGregor incidents where just, like, that early into the fight, you get just something that screws over months of training, and just like that, a fight that you thought you were going to win with flying colors, you are out in the second round.
I'm just grimacing over here thinking about that shit, bro. The last time I could think about stuff like that, I think it was Holloway when they had the Q-tip in his head. That one was gross, though. I don't know what about that one. Maybe.
I remember watching that Max Holloway one with you. That was also disgusting. I think this one might have been just a tad bit worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Considering also
so gross.
They didn't stop that Max Holloway fight, which I think they probably should have, because that was gross too. The second to last fight of the night, Diego Lopez versus Danny Ige, I believe it's pronounced. He stepped in for Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega was supposed to fight Diego Lopez. Another person backed out. He said he was sick. I believe they called Dan 3 hours before the fight and was like, do you want to fight? And he lives in Vegas, so he was like, I'll be there. And he was there. He wasn't probably going to win ever. Nobody really expected him to win, especially, not he's been training, but not, I guess, for this particular fight. But he was ready. He showed up. That was much respect. Also, much respect to the main card, because the main fight, because they both stepped up in about a 3-week notice. And I wouldn't say it was a good fight, but but it was for Alex Pereira.
If you're watching at home and you want a really good laugh, go look at the ESPN breakdown of this fight right now, and it's just a picture of Pereira, and on the other side is a picture of the other guy, and it looks like he is casted over a sunset because every single part of his body is either in orange and red, and that shows you at no point this guy had it. And also that haircut, that little ponytail thing he does, it looks really cool when you fight well, and it looks dumb as shit when you get kicked in the head and it's like hanging off the side. You can't stand up and you have to be put in a chair in the middle of the ring.
Bro, that was bad.
Yeah, he couldn't walk. But yeah, Pereira, I mean, that just it sucks to fight him in general, but when you don't have much lead up to being able to do that, it sucks even more. So, but yeah, shout out to both these guys for stepping up and taking control and having, a good ending, I guess, to something that people were really looking forward to.
It was supposed to be McGregor Chandler. Instead, it was Pereira and Yuri. Again, I think this is the second time they fought. Pereira has knocked him out both times. I don't think we knew it was over right away at the end of the first round, kind of when he got that first knockdown, going right into the bell, which obviously I think he honestly might have got saved by the bell. I'm not going to lie. And I wouldn't say it was like completely over then, but literally 4 seconds later, it was actually over, and Yuri's face was getting kicked in. Alex Pereira left hook was what sent Yuri down in the first round, and then the leg kick. It's so hard for like people, like a normal eye, to see it, but the stance, how quick he changed his stance to get that left foot up when he knew that his that side of his face was unprotected, so impressive. And Alex Pereira is just finding every way to win. Now, he's known for his left hook, but I mean, he did it with the kick this time. 13 seconds in, honestly, probably could have been 5 seconds in, but they waited a couple seconds to call it. That was very embarrassing. Yuri got knocked out, I should say, and then a KO, TKO, he got knocked out, and then he got back up. Alex Pereira looked at him in his eyes, and then he just fell over again.
So, the third knockdown of the fight.
The third knockdown of the fight was after the fight ended, and Alex Pereira just literally looked at him in the eyes, and he fell over.
I mean, to be fair, though, I think if Pereira looked me in the eyes, my legs would lock, and I would also follow the canvas just by staring at him. I feel like my legs would buckle, and I'd just fall over.
Very fair.
The pound-for-pound rankings were announced today. Might have been yesterday, but I saw them today. Islam still number 1. Alex Pereira number 2 now, ahead of John Jones. Dana White has been vouching for John Jones ever since he's been out, saying that he's still the best pound-for-pound fighter, but Dana White doesn't get to make these decisions. The media does. So I really don't disagree, though. Alex Pereira might be the face of the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a dominant guy, in the octagon. It's just so hard to see anybody really being able to fight him that well unless they're quick enough to the point where they can meet that strength with speed. But yeah, right now he's a train rolling on the tracks right now, and he's just going to roll over anybody.
I think what me and Caden talked about too is this Pereira fight and his last 2-3 fights. Honestly, it's make that Izzy Adesanya fight where Izzy actually won. I know Izzy lost to him 3 times, in MMA and kickboxing and now in UFC, but it makes that that win for Izzy Adesanya look that much better.
100%. I mean, it's the only time, and I can't imagine it maybe ever happening again, of Pereira being knocked out. I saw after the Pereira fight, I saw that again, the Adesanya knockout, and it just looks so weird because how he's fighting and where he is right now, he's just so dominant. It's hard to see him knocked out. Insane.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
So, another great card in the books. I mean, obviously we were expecting the McGregor-Michael Chandler, but we still got a good fight. Again, Pereira, Yuri, they've stepped up for the second time now in short notice. First for John Jones, Stipe, and now McGregor and Chandler, which is supposed to be 2 of the biggest household names, and they've stepped up and they've taken they made the card their own, I should say, because they made it incredible. So,
Yo, on the talks of UFC, did you hear about Khabib?
I did not. Oh, well, about like his cousin that's like a terrorist?
No, about how all of his bank accounts have been seized by Russian tax authorities because of his $3 million debt.
I did see that. Yeah.
Crazy.
He might have to come back, huh?
Yeah, he might.
We might have to see a return to Khabib. That would be good.
For the sport.
For the sport, it might be terrible for him, but it would be good for us.
Looking at the side of the ring the whole time, just seeing like a bunch of Russian mobsters getting ready to like beat him up if he doesn't get his money back.
You better win. You are losing tonight.
But yeah, I think that kind of wraps up UFC 303. UFC 304, I believe it's at the end of this month. I could be wrong, but I think it's the last weekend of this month. And then UFC 305 in Africa with Izzy Adesanya headlining that. And 306, I'm expecting an announcement soon.
Yeah.
Michael Chandler said he already accepted going against Islam in 307, but if McGregor was to be ready by 306 in the Sphere, that he'd step up and he'd be ready.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that's the case, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Which, I mean, like, I feel like he'd prefer that almost because, like, he just got done prepping for this guy for what I would assume is, like, a month and a half months or whatever.
A few months for sure.
Yeah. But, like, I'm sure he would really like that, and I'm sure he's going to be, like, preparing for the 307 fight, but I'm sure he's also going to be still leaning towards that McGregor fight and like making sure he doesn't lose his edge there.
Especially in the Sphere against McGregor, that's going to be a fat paycheck.
I'm really interested to see how that looks.
Oh, it's going to look insane.
I know, but because the crowd's behind and then it's just a screen behind them, I'm really interested to see how like the layout of that is.
Do you think they might just put like the whole like that's going to be the Jumbotron in that sense? Because that's what they do during like the concerts now. What they did during the draft.
The only reason I would say no is because how much money they make from, like pay-per-views and stuff like that. And I don't know if they want something that people usually pay about $200 to watch on just display in Las Vegas to where you could see it from like really like any hotel kind of. But I mean, it would be awesome. I hope that they do that. And I think that they probably will. I'm just thinking like that way. I don't know if they want to just freely broadcast something that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into.
Maybe the highlights after the fight, because I mean, the second the fight's end anyway, they're up on Twitter and everywhere. So
I think like inside the arena though, like I think the octagon will be on where the stage is, and then in the background, like so the crowd would be this side, and in front of them would be just like another replay, which would suck because it would be like a little bit more delayed than the fight, just because that's how technology works. But I think that'd be cool, just see like a bigger version of the fight that's already happening right in front of your eyes, just in case you miss something. You can look up for half a second and it'll be there. So other than that, any other UFC news besides could be maybe being broke?
No, only thing I was gonna say is that Dan Ige stepping up with 2 hours. He fought a great fight.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, took him to decision, and they still only scored it 28-29. All three judges
every round. Yeah.
Because I mean, like realistically, Ige stepped up late, but I mean, like it's just as difficult for Lopez. Like, he may have been training a little bit more, but he wasn't prepared for this guy. Just as Ige was not prepared for him.
Yeah, no, but great card. We were all really disappointed whenever everyone started dropping out, but it was still a fantastic card. I mean, I think they all were. Well, no, they weren't, but a lot of knockouts too. They were talking about the new gloves.
Yeah,
having to do with
it was
that.
only 2 knockout TKOs in the like main.
In the
card.
main, I think there's more in the prelims.
Yeah,
but great card.
Yeah, looking forward to the next UFC. It's always a pleasure. I believe the next one's here. The fight night. I believe it's July 10th. I think it's like coming up like next week or something. 19th, something like that. I don't know the exact dates, but we'll be on the lookout for that as well. But
not next fight night.
The next fight night. Are you looking at the date?
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah.
I think it's July 8th. I could be wrong.
I lied. You're right.
It is July 8th?
No, it's July 13th.
July 13th.
But,
cool.
Denver,
Colorado. It'll be here. Okay. NBA, I mean, it's over, but we had some free agency news. We had the draft. The draft's not as exciting as, everybody may have hoped, but there were some interesting picks, some places, some people dropped. But we'll talk about free agency first, because then we'll get into the interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I guess the first news, we'll get it out of the way for us guys. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, shooting guard for the Denver Nuggets, has left the Denver Nuggets and went to the Orlando Magic for a 3-year, $66 million deal. Congratulations to him, first of all.
Yeah, definitely.
$22 million a year. That's huge for a guy that just kind of was a shooting guard role player, for a championship team. But that is awesome news for him. Bad news for the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
bad.
it really does suck to lose him, but that's one of those guys at the end of the day that he's in that category of, if you're going to lose somebody, it's probably going to be him or a couple different guys on the team. Like, you kind of prepare yourself for him leaving. That's just kind of the role he plays. But yeah, I think he's going to do great things over there. So it's good for him. It just I think it's just sad for Nuggets fans because he's been such a mainstay of that team. But yeah, he's going to go do great things.
Hey, always happy when my boys get paid. Same with Bruce. It's the same way I feel. Hate to see him go, but glad he got his money.
And they both won a ring with Denver, so that will always hang in the rafters forever. That you can't take that one away. So
Nope.
It'll be very interesting to see. The Nuggets, as of this moment, 6:21 p.m. on July 2nd, have done nothing. Calvin Booth, wake up, please.
We need depth.
we need something, anything. I think the only thing we've done so far is agree to like a $3 million deal with DeAndre Jordan, which I don't even think he signed yet because I think they're waiting to see, maybe the flexibility of what we can maybe do more. Mm-hmm. So who knows? But the only other thing I've seen is us possibly trading for Russell Westbrook, which I have mixed emotions about.
I heard that news on Sunday about that being a possibility, and I think that's one of those things that just doesn't work in my mind. Like, I can't see it for some reason, like him playing with the Nuggets, a team that I would say is very team-oriented. I know that Russell Westbrook is great with assists and stuff, but it always feels like he's very on his own on some parts of the court. So it would be interesting to see him mold into that team and see what he could do. And it also depends on what Russell are you getting. Are you getting the Russell from, like the Lakers, or are you getting that hard-working, high-motor guy that can just fight through an entire game and give you the edge?
Two things. One, if he was to come to our team, I would hope that Harrison Wind reported that it might not be through trade, which I don't understand at the moment. Maybe they'll drop him, but I don't think that would be for a while. And if that was the case, I kind of just don't see why we don't trade for him now. If they take Zeke Naji somehow, maybe like a second rounder, I don't throw those away, who cares? Get Russell Westbrook to play backup point guard. That's the only way I'd be happy. And because in that case, we'd get $4 million back, and Russell Westbrook would be our backup point guard. Mm-hmm. And the second point I would have is, if there's one guy who could fix him, it's Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not a lot of guys in the NBA like Nikola Jokic, obviously, but Nikola Jokic obviously makes his teammates better because we've seen every single player that's left us in free agency has got an absolute bag. Jeremy Grant getting a max contract, Bruce Brown getting $22.5 a year, KCP getting $22 a year now. You see these guys, Hartenstein, I mean, he left the Nuggets, and that was a while ago, but he just got paid $30 million a year. Fucking insane. But, I think if there's one guy that could make maybe this Russell Westbrook fit actually work, it could be Nikola Jokic. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I think Westbrook would come off the bench, but that would give Jamal a good amount of time to, stagger with the bench and maybe stay a little healthier, not having to play as much minutes in the, regular season. Mm-hmm. But then, the issue is we still don't have depth at all.
No, not at all.
We have, hopefully, Christian Brown steps up, and if everything stays as it is, Christian Brown will get that shooting guard role, and I think he'll be better with the starters. Yeah. I don't think that's like a huge surprise. It's, you're playing with the best players in the world and you're actually on the floor with them. I think you're going to be better as well. So, do you have any thoughts on Russell Westbrook possibly coming to Denver? Remember, your mom might hear this, and she does not like Russell Westbrook.
I mean, at this point in time, he's looking like a good option compared to what we've done. But like you said, the biggest thing is depth right now. Like, I would take him. I wouldn't be upset with it, I guess. Like you said, mixed emotions, but I don't know if he should be our focus at this point.
Yeah, there's running out of players on the market.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing. Kyle Anderson got signed today. We are really running out of players on the market.
Yeah. I feel bad too, because Russell Westbrook, I've had the chance to meet him. He was one of the nicest guys I've ever met that has that type of star status, and that was at the peak of his winning MVPs and stuff. And he was a very nice guy, but every time I watch him on a basketball court, I'm just please never come to my team. And it might be the point where he comes to our team.
You met him with the coldest fit I've ever seen you in. Well.
Gosh, it was
We
terrible.
should put that right here.
I will try and get it.
I'll see if I can send it to him. I might choose not to. No, I'll send it to him. Another guy that I'm glad that the guy that I wish that I would never come to the Denver Nuggets, and he actually didn't. Chris Paul signs a 1-year deal with the San Antonio Spurs to go play alongside Victor Wembanyama. Thank God he's not on the Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, I started I wrote about him a little bit right here, and I think it's just him kind of continuing his little journeyman status at the moment, of just kind of bouncing around, looking for something that'll work for kind of like what I would assume is the last kind of couple years of his career. I think this is actually a really smart decision out of him. I think, and out of the Spurs. I think the Spurs are a team that are, on the verge of being solid, but are just kind of young and could use a veteran kind of like Chris Paul to kind of take the reins and kind of help drive them. He's been on many teams that have, made that push for a finals, so he kind of knows what that's about. He's played with a lot of star players. He kind of knows how to make a team mold and like maybe help players around Wemby learn how to play with a guy like
Wemby.
that.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be really smart for him. I think he's going to help them immensely. I think they're going to be much better because of that. I think when he went to the Warriors, he was already on a team that had veteran mentors on it, and so like he kind of just didn't have a spot there. And I think that's what his main thing is nowadays, now that his career is kind of drawing to a close. So yeah, I think he's gonna be great for the Spurs.
I think that's the biggest point, is like that's so smart for the Spurs like organization, is getting a guy like that in there to help Wemby develop. Like you said, help those other guys around Wemby develop, because that will be huge. Obviously having Popovich there, I think that would be a perfect fit for Chris Paul. But like, I respect for Chris Paul for doing that, because like at this point in his career, even like last year going to the Warriors, it's kind of like a ring chasing deal.
Yeah.
But now I could kind of see, as much as I don't like the guy, I feel like what he's doing is good, because he sees like the talent in Wemby.
Yeah.
And he's trying to help, I think. So much respect to him for that. How do you feel about that fit on the Spurs? I don't think it was going to make like a huge difference record wise, but.
No, I agree with everything you guys said. Record-wise, probably not much. They might win a couple extra games with them. Chris Paul overs are going to be hitting on them assists. But
yeah,
I think it's going to be a great fit. I mean, like you said, great mentor for everybody around him, and great to improve Wemby as well.
We'll talk about these 2 extensions real quick, and then we'll get into the actual big news. Tyrese Maxey signed a huge extension, 5 years, $204 million. Jason Tatum, 5 years, I believe it was $314 million. I saw that was crazy. Bryce Harper's like huge contract. They used to say like baseball money.
Yeah.
It's basketball money now.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper's contract like 6 years ago, whatever it was, 13 years, $313 million. Jason Tatum, 5 years, $314 million.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. There's one more extension I meant to get to. Oh, Derek White. The Celtics are somehow keeping everybody.
Yeah.
Don't know how this money laundering scheme is going on, and I don't know how the cap hasn't stopped them from signing all these players, but at least Derek White got his money, so I know all of Colorado is happy for him. But the 2 biggest signings I think we should talk about, Paul George agreeing to a 4-year, $212 million maximum contract with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, that is huge. I think I had some down here about the 76ers making a very obvious push to try to make it to the finals and win it all. With the addition of Paul George, and they're going to have, Gordon, Maxey, and Kelly Oubre on that team. So, I mean, that's huge. I think when you get another veteran guy like Paul George, who still has a lot of gas in the tank, I think, of being able to really help a team win, I think this is going to be smart for him over there. And you're mixing that with Embiid, and that's already, a Hall of Fame player right there. So they're already on that verge of doing it. And if Embiid can just stay healthy and that team can stay healthy and keep pushing, I think that they're going to be a danger come playoff time to make a push to go all the way.
2 things on that real quick. I agree with you, what you said for sure. Let's just get the funny part of the way. The Clippers run is over. Their little Kawhi, Paul George.
I mean, you could really almost say it never started.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It did never start. They had one healthy playoffs, and they lost to the Nuggets and blew a 3-1 lead in the bubble. So their little experiment that lasted, I think it was like 5 years, is now over. They literally won nothing. maybe 3 playoff series in 5 years. Maybe I think maybe 4 or 5, but still nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I almost want to compare it to like the Rockets those few years, where it's like they didn't get as far as them, but they were set up for it. And if it wouldn't have been for how good Golden State was in those years, they would have gone to a couple finals and probably won one of them. But yeah, Clippers, they put a really good team together.
Really good team.
It just so happened to coincide with a lot of other teams gearing up just the same way, and so it's a gamble that I think was worth it, but didn't pay off.
Yeah, no, they just couldn't get past a stacked Western Conference, and not a lot of teams have, so can't really knock them for that, but it was a disappointment for sure, and it's really funny to see, especially with their little clipped series being out right now, and they should get another one after this. They should make a season 2. So,
that interview with Chris Paul recently with Pat McAfee, where it's just like none of that happened.
Yeah,
he was like, there was an episode where my wife was talking to his wife,
Donald Sterling's wife,
and he was like, that didn't happen. She never did that.
Yeah, no, that show is hilarious. Me and TJ were talking about that yesterday. That show is very interesting, to say the least. The other note I had was, even though the 76ers have gotten better, so is the whole Eastern Conference, to be honest with you. Just talked about the Orlando Magic. They got a couple guys in there.
Yeah.
76ers got better. A team that really got better, the New York Knicks.
Yeah,
I mean,
big time.
I think we got to talk about that real quick, too. Mikal Bridges getting traded. It did cost a lot. 5 first-round picks from the Knicks to the Nets, but Mikal Bridges and the rest of his Villanova guys are all on the same team now.
Yeah, no, they're going to be dangerous. They were already dangerous, and honestly, in this playoffs, had they not had to deal with injury issues, they might have given Boston a serious run for their money in that series, and maybe could have snuck a win in there. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see in the future, but I think as that team grows with each other and molds with each other, and I think they're going to be a serious contender for the finals for years to come. And, you know, when you initially hear how many first-round picks are given up, it gets you a little scared. Yeah. But then you got to think that nobody on that team feels like they're above, 25 years old. Yeah. So they're going to be set for the future, and they don't need picks for the next few years because they have their team.
Stacked lineup now. I mean, Brunson, DiVincenzo, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, still have some bigs, Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa. And then, you know, you sit back, and they have Josh Hart still. You sit back and you realize Julius Randle didn't play for the whole second half of the season, and he's still there. They have about, I'd say, minimum 2 all-star caliber players, and still Brunson and Randle, but Mikal Bridges is that good where he honestly should have made an all-star team while he was on the Nets and while he was getting all those shots up. But no, they have an absolute squad. The East is actually going to be maybe fun to watch next year. Yeah. We'll see. There's maybe 4 to 5 good actual maybe contenders rather than the 3 we've been watching every year.
Yeah.
So I think that would be cool.
Yeah, the Knicks on FanDuel right now are plus 900 to win it all,
which is probably the lowest number they've had since
1973.
God no, since Patrick Ewing was on the team. Yeah. So, the other, I'd say, last and big news so far, Klay Thompson, one half of the Splash Brothers in Golden State. A team that you never thought would split up. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry. Klay Thompson left and is joining the Dallas Mavericks, a team that just went to the finals last year.
Mm-hmm. I think it was time. I think his run there had ended. I personally think that the Warriors' run is coming to a close for sure. I think Curry is he's going to stay there. He's never leaving there.
Yeah, zero question.
I think at this point, Curry's just staying there to progress his legacy there, but I don't see them rebuilding a solid enough team unless they make some crazy moves here soon in the future to while Steph's still playing to really, make another push like crazy. But without that core team and with Draymond with all the problems on the court and stuff like that, I think that team's window to win something has kind of come to a close. And I think Klay sees that, and I think that's why he's going to a team whose window has rapidly just opened. And I think he's a guy who you can plug into a team like the Mavs, and they're going to really succeed in that because, I think a big problem with the Mavs was their ability to shoot. They couldn't really get anything to fall during that finals. So now they got a guy who's historically known as a good shooter. So I think he's going to plug in really well to that team, and I think it's going to help them go back getting close to the finals.
I do agree with the Golden State point. Steph's never going to leave, first of all. He's gonna be there forever. It is gonna be weird seeing Klay in a different uniform, but honestly, I don't think this really moves the needle for Dallas for me.
Yeah.
I get the shooting part, the shooting aspect. They couldn't hit shots. I'm looking at their perimeter defense now, though, and they have tons of question marks. And, I mean, you're throwing a backcourt of Kyrie, Klay Thompson, and Luka Doncic out there. Not one of those guys can, like, Klay Thompson used to be able to, but not one of those guys can really, like, actually guard and contain an Anthony Edwards, Jamal Murray, Devin Booker, guys like that, elite guards in the league. There's tons of them in the West. Shai Gilgeous, De'Aaron Fox. There's tons of them, Steph. Not one of them is going to be able to guard them. So I think that's going to be their biggest issue come playoff time, especially when the game kind of slows down and it's not, I wouldn't say going inside as much. It's a lot of movement on the outside, a lot of trying to get space and with pick and rolls and dribble handoff, stuff like that, where that's the only thing that really worries me with that team. Other than that, I mean, I think they got better as a roster, but I think that was more of the bench players. I think they brought in like Quentin Grimes. They brought in one other guy. I forget who they brought in. But like losing Derrick Jones Jr. on the defensive end, that's going to suck for them. But I expect them to be better in the regular season than they've been in the past. Yeah. I don't know about the playoffs, but they've always kind of struggled in the regular season going back to just ever since Luka's been in the league. So I think that will help. But again, and Klay's also old, so like he's going to run out of gas at some point. Yeah. But how do you think that fit is going to work, and how do you think it shakes up the West if it does at all?
Najee Marshall was the other signing.
That was.
I don't know. It's so hard for me to imagine Klay with another team. So I just honestly have no idea how he's going to mesh with anybody besides the Warriors. Like I do think I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Kyrie, Luka, and Klay play basketball together. Do I think it's going to be successful? 50-50 shot. I think they probably have a good chance of doing maybe the exact same thing they did this year. I don't know if it moved the needle per se.
Do you maybe agree with the point that regular season it might help, but the playoffs is still a huge question mark?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, where's the defense? And then even interior defense, who's their bigs right now?
Yeah, Gafford, Lively, and PJ Washington, really.
Yeah, I don't know how that fares.
Yeah, Gafford is a decent defender, but Lively's young.
Yep.
PJ Washington's kind of small for his position. But I think that same thing I think kind of applies for the Sixers too. Even though I think we all agree that they got better, it just as much as it provides better looks at some things, it also provides worse looks. Like having Paul George at the 4, that kind of worries me. Not when you're going like I think he can guard a guy like Jason Tatum who also plays like the 4. But like if you're matched up against a guy like Julius Randle or a guy like Aaron Gordon, where these guys are like more physical down low. I think that goes the same for the Mavericks, where they're going to be able to match up with some of these guards and forwards better. But the bigger these guards and forwards get, I think it's going to produce more issues than maybe successes. So I'm interested to see what happens. Obviously, there's tons of time in the NBA before it starts. The NBA never sleeps.
Nope.
Kevin Durant could be traded in the next 10 minutes, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it seems to happen every year. So.
I mean, jaw droppers every year.
So I think there's still a lot to come before the season starts, and we have until October. So there is going to be stuff that comes. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I mean, just to throw a couple of my NBA free agency moves that I think are just interesting, at least. First one I want to say is the Pistons. They did sign Tim Hardaway Jr. and Tobias Harris, which are two guys that are solid. I mean, not enough to make a 14-win team turn into a playoff push, but I think it's the first step of maybe helping the team. They just
bringing in some veterans,
and kind of making a push to kind of fill that team out a little bit. Too often nowadays we see teams that are bad continue to stay bad and not make a push to do anything. So it is good to see a team realize its faults and try to go out and do something. I think the Hawks are another team that kind of piqued my interest with their first overall pick they just had. That guy should turn out pretty good. And then they also just traded DeJounte Murray. Yep. But also gained, was it 3?
Yeah.
3 first-rounders. I think they're a team that realizes right now our window is not there, but we can work our way to getting closer to opening it and kind of giving ourselves a run. So I think it's going to be kind of a quiet few years for the Hawks, but I think eventually they are going to kind of rise up and be a halfway decent challenge in the East for people to have to go through. And, yeah, we already talked about the 76ers. I think as long as everyone stays healthy and plays well together, that's going to be a real dangerous team. And, yeah, that's the ones that in the free agency that kind of got my interest for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of honestly smart for the Hawks. DeJounte is not like the oldest player, but you guys get a first overall small forward.
Mm-hmm.
Trae Young's still there. I know they're maybe talking about looking for packages for him, but it might be a quiet couple years. But if you're going to build up some first round picks, already just got the first overall pick. I think they're looking forward, not right now.
Mm-hmm.
What you just said. There's times where bad teams stay bad, and that's not fun for the NBA. So. I guess we'll get into the NBA draft. We'll get what we think the good picks are out of the way before we talk about the big news and upsetting news. A couple of picks I liked real quick. Reed Shepherd. I don't know how he went number 3, but he is a great guard out of Kentucky. A little white boy. He has hops. He went to Houston. He's going to be, I think, a pretty good fit there. I don't think he's going to start right away. They have a lot of guards there, especially with Fred VanVleet. Running kind of the team right now, but I could see him in a few years to taking the reins from them. So I think that's going to be a great pick. Another one that I thought was really good, Donovan Clingan from UConn, the center that won 2 national championships these last 2 years. He's really skilled, and you put him with a young team and some young guards, Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons. You put him with them, they're going to be able to develop quicker. I think that was a great pick. Rob Dillingham, he was on the Spurs. I thought that was also a great pick until they traded him to Minnesota, and now I'm not very happy because he's going to be a great point guard in a few years after learning from Mike Conley, and once Mike Conley retires. Cody Williams, shout out Colorado. That was pretty much my only note on him. I thought another cool one just for me, Devin Carter. He grew up in Colorado. I grew up watching him. He went to Providence. I don't know if a lot of people really know that he's Anthony Carter's son, who used to play for the Nuggets. Yeah. And now he's going to play for the Kings. I don't think a lot of people I see on Twitter realize that.
I didn't know that. So
there you go. Dalton Connect to the Lakers. I mean, I'm surprised he fell to 17. He's going to get overhyped just because he's on the Lakers, but a good pick, especially at 17. I think that's great value. And then the one that I think was maybe the best pick of the first round was Terrence Shannon Jr., also going to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves essentially just got Mike Conley, but right-handed on the bench, and then Anthony Edwards, but left-handed on the bench. And that scares me a lot. So that was the first round. Second round wasn't as interesting. Kyle Filipowski kind of fell, which he had a very interesting story. Maybe we'll talk about that a little if you really want to. A little weird topic, but if we want to get into the big news, there was a guy selected with the number 55th pick, and somehow he was the most hyped up pick in maybe NBA history.
Never heard of him.
He goes by the name of LeBron James Jr.
Yeah, no, I love seeing that quote of him where he was like, "Why aren't you wearing your dad's number?" He's like, "I want to differentiate myself." And I was like, "Bro, you have his exact name. It's not going to change anything." I'm going to stand on what I've been saying for weeks, that I don't think he's ready. I think he's going to run. I think going forward, when I visualize at the end of his career, I think everyone's going to say the same thing. Solid career, wasn't a bad player, was good on teams he played for, but would have benefited from maybe 1-2 more years in college, maybe a little bit more progression. And due to his namesake, he was rushed to the NBA and was not ready to be put in that position yet. And I don't know. I think they're going to look back on this pick and be like, yeah, we may have forced that a little bit.
A little bit. may have forced it. Again, okay, so this news came out today too, because my biggest pet peeve isn't that he went to the Lakers. I don't really care. I think everybody knew it was going to happen, so it wasn't a surprise. My biggest pet peeve is that he got what I believe is a 3-year deal on the Lakers, guaranteed as a rookie. He's not going to be in the G League, which that part kind of upsets me, because there's some of these guys that they're going to have to get 2-way contracts that went late in this draft, Cam Spencer, Kevin McCullough Jr., who was at Kansas. That was no offense, way better than Bronny, way better than Bronny in college.
I'm going to be honest with you. Every single person in this draft and 90% of the people picked up after the draft are better than him. There's a guy on USC who like quadrupled his stats and did not get drafted.
Yeah.
It's a little ridiculous.
It's just, it pains me to see some of these guys that probably actually deserve multi-year contracts have to play, two-way, have to play in the G League. And Bronny, just because his name, I'm going to say it, he doesn't have to play a two-way contract. Yeah. It's not the fact that he was drafted. I don't really care about that part. It's the fact that he gets a multi-year rookie deal when I guarantee you some of these guys are 10 times better than him, at least right now. I'm not saying Bronny can't be better in the future, and I know the draft is all based on potential, but I tweeted it. I don't think anybody responded because I know I got a lot of Lakers fans on there. I need to know the last 55th overall pick that had a guaranteed rookie contract and didn't have to play in the G League.
Oh, I can tell you.
Nobody.
I
know there has to be nobody. I don't know the exact stat, but just based on the logic that is put in my head when I say that out loud, I don't think there's one. Because Isaiah Thomas was picked 60th in the draft. He didn't have a guaranteed multi-year rookie deal, not playing on the Rhode Island Mad Ants or whatever the hell Boston's team is. But, yeah, that's the only part that really upset me. You got anything?
I mean, you summed it up. I think we all knew it was going to happen, and the contract's crazy. I agree with you 100%. That's insane. But we all knew he was going to get drafted, and I'm not surprised at the route we're taking at this point. We'll see how he plays. I mean, you can give him all the money you want. You can't fake how he plays. So
I don't. But and then like all the most bets for rookie of the year were put on him. Pretty crazy.
You see, this is where I start to feel bad a little bit for him. He has this mountain of pressure put on him, in my view, of like people are going to look at him as if he should be the son of LeBron James. Like, no one's expecting him to be LeBron James. Like, no one's throwing that out there. But I think people are putting this unnecessary pressure on this kid who I think, like you said, I think he will get better as the years goes on. But this first year, he's not going to do anything special. I mean, he was struggling in Pac-12 basketball. I mean, it wasn't. It's not like he did anything special in college that would. I think it just the reason it messes with me really is just because if he didn't have that name and this was a random person, he put up the stat line that he put up in college.
No one would blink an eye.
We're talking about a 4-year senior, plays through all of college, and then maybe gets picked up by a G League team and plays out the rest of his career there and maybe sees a year of NBA play.
The only person I saw similar stats-wise drafted, and it's only because I'm a Nuggets fan, was Peyton Watson. I think he averaged like 2 points a game in college.
Yeah.
But we also got to remember Peyton Watson is 6'9" with like a 7'3" wingspan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And guess what? He was drafted, I believe, it was either the 30th pick, which is like with the last pick of the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's what Peyton Watson was drafted with. Mm-hmm. He played in the G League for a whole year on a two-way contract. And I still don't think – I think he's guaranteed now, like on the Nuggets, but it took him a whole year and a half, to get that deal. And like he had to prove it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, I'm not upset that he got drafted. I'm not. I'm upset that there's guys on here. Tristan Newton from UConn. Guarantee you this dude has to play in the G League. He is better than Bronny, at least right now. Tristan Newton, awesome in the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. Led UConn to it back-to-back national championships. What other? Cam Spencer, like I mentioned, going to the Pistons, also on UConn. He's going to have to play in the G League. Harrison Ingram, the power forward for North Carolina last year. Mm-hmm. I'm a little biased because I'm a North Carolina fan. He's going to have to play in the G League. KJ Simpson, probably one of the best point guards in all of college basketball last year for Colorado. Probably going to play in the G League. Mm-hmm. Kyle Filipowski shouldn't have fell to the second round at all, but because of other issues, probably going to play in the G League. And that just kind of upsets me because these are the guys that shouldn't have to. And there's some guys that should have to earn their stripes. And, just because their namesake, they get to skip steps. But people that skip steps never make it that far in life. So, and no hate on him either because he's just a kid. But you don't skip steps in life. But I guess when your dad's a billionaire, you get to.
Yeah, yep, that's the truth right there.
Yeah, so, but congrats to Bronny for making it to the NBA. I mean, that is huge. First father-son duo to ever play together. That's going to be pretty cool to see, especially for the first time when they get on the court together. Yeah. The media is going to be annoying about it. We're going to see every single clip for about 4 months straight, maybe for eternity. But it's good for them. It's cool for them. Like it's a cool family moment. You can't hate on that part. But it'll be interesting to see if he gets a lot of PT next year, because I don't think he's going to play that much.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really going to be important for the Lakers front office to like make sure that he just plays good. He doesn't have to be amazing. He doesn't have to be world shaking, but it's not going to look good if he goes out there and plays like shit. Like if he goes out there and is like a serious liability on that court, there's going to be some serious heat coming down on the Lakers for a lot of nepotism and just forcing something that didn't need to be forced. But if he doesn't have to play amazing, he just has to be decent and not a liability. But if his plus minus is dog ass and he can't make a shot and he's getting beaten up by all these other players, it's going to look really bad on the Lakers, I think.
My only last note I had on that was LeBron had a list of guys that he would take a pay cut for, being Klay Thompson, Jonas Valanciunas, James Harden. I think DeMar DeRozan was on that list, and DeMar DeRozan's still a possibility. But the other three players, they signed somewhere else, and my first thought is like LeBron has been able to like recruit players his whole career. Like it's pretty seamlessly. And I think when they saw that the Lakers drafted his son, and this was all those players signed before the actual like multi-year deal of Bronny being on the team came out. But I think they all realized that it's really not about winning in LA anymore. It's kind of just about LeBron and his legacy. And I think players are starting to realize that. And I, as a fan, I think I'm starting to realize that. And just watching them lose in the playoffs to the Nuggets the last 2 years, I realized that too, that it's no longer about winning in LA.
That is also a big factor of why people probably don't want to go to LA, because they know they're going to probably have to play the Nuggets in the first round.
That and state taxes, Klay Thompson said. So that's why he went to Dallas. But do you have any other notes on the NBA draft, NBA in general?
I think just a quick little note that I think there's going to be a big debate going over these first two picks on who should have been there and who should have gotten picked. It would be very Hawks to not pick the guy who should be good, because we passed up on Luka a couple of years ago. So I think Alex Sarr, I've heard a lot more about him, I feel like. I know that Zachary is really good, but Alex Sarr, I've heard, is really good and also wanted nothing to do with the Hawks when they were trying to talk to him. So I don't know. I'm interested to see that kind of dynamic moving forward and to see which one of those two guys really kind of takes that edge and leads the league this year.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait years to come, but it'll be interesting to watch. You got any notes?
No, I think we
go Nuggets.
Go Nuggets.
Okay,
please,
go Nuggets. Go Hawks.
Please, Nuggets, go do something.
Calvin Booth, wake up! Yeah, vacation is over. All right, let's get into the ad read. This will be the last time you see this ad read. Next time when we be back, it'll be a different one. But listen to the ad read, and then we have a couple announcements on the other side.
Summertime is here, and there's no better way to get it kicked off than buying some Slove merch. They just had a new drop. I've had the chance to see it myself, and it's really awesome. Everyone should go out and definitely cop a piece. Right now, they got a deal going on in the store where if you buy the full sweatsuit, you get a discount on a lot of select items in the store. Are you ready to spread love? Join Slove in creating a world where love triumphs over hate and fashion meets compassion. Follow them on Instagram at slove.co or their website, slove.us. That is SLUV.us.
Welcome back to the segment part of the show, but this time there's no segments. Sports are kind of over right now. We're in a little bit of a hiatus from a lot of news besides, some of the stuff we just recapped. So we just have a couple announcements. First of all, I don't even know if he'll be listening to this, but I got to give him a shout out just in case any of his friends or family are listening. My boy Shy, Brendan Temple, some of you guys may know, he just signed his first professional contract overseas.
Ooh, let's go.
I don't know if he wants me to say the name, but I'm going to say it anyway. Signed to Racing Luxembourg. It's a club out in the middle between Switzerland and Germany. So I don't know. I believe it's just in Luxembourg, which I found out today was a country. So shout out to him. We couldn't be more proud.
Nope.
Bring me back some bacon,
Yes,
send us some jerseys, some flags, some hats. I'll obviously see it before you leave, but publicly give you a shout out. So if anybody sees this, they know Brendan, know Shy. go tell him congratulations. I'm sure he'll make the announcement probably before this pod comes out. So, second thing, happy 4th of July, everybody.
Happy 4th of July.
This will be coming out on 4th of July. So, what any 4th of July plans for you?
Yeah, no, we're setting off some fireworks. That's
The huge.
Yep. Due to my Fifth Amendment right, I will not be divulging any more onto that. But we are going to have a great time celebrating. I'm excited. It's always a fun time. I got the day off work. Didn't think that was going to happen. So
Nice.
That's a great start already. But
Lucky both of you.
yeah, no, it's a great time to kind of hang out with everybody and just set things on fire.
Yeah. 4th of July plans for you?
To be figured out. I don't know yet. I got a couple options. Might go hit the lake.
Okay.
Might go grill.
Mm.
Might go to the pool by myself.
You can always join
That
me.
ain't happening. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, here's what's happening. Either way, we're lighting shit on fire. Like, America doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Just because I don't have plans, I'll go light shit on fire by myself.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. Never mind.
Fireworks. Fireworks, everybody.
We're lighting
You
wicks
probably
on
shouldn't
fire.
be saying that.
Oh,
That
fireworks.
Fireworks, yeah. There you go.
Crazy straight.
Yeah. No, happy 4th of July, everybody. I hope everybody that has a day off enjoys it. If you don't, still enjoy it. Celebrate with your family, friends. Have a good time. For the people that do have work off, enjoy the day off, relax, kick your feet up. This is what the holidays are for, So, happy 4th of July, everybody. And last announcement, I guess, is we're going to take a week hiatus after this one, so probably won't be a show till quick math, 18th. I think that might be right. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
Good? Okay, until the 18th, I think. So July 18th, we'll be back. It's going to be some summer rock solid stuff, so we're going to do a little bit different things. Obviously, we're going to lead off the sports, but we're going to focus more of the show on other things. I think the first thing we're going to do is a breakdown of conspiracy theory on John F. Kennedy and his death a long time ago before we were alive. So just to break down some of that stuff, we're going to do our own research, come up with our own opinions and talk about it and whatnot. So other than that, we're going to try to figure out more ideas going forward. So
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing for this is we are very much so in the infancy of this podcast. We've been doing it for a short time, and now that sports are winding down, I think it gives us this opportunity to branch out to be not just about sports and maybe see if people like it, and I think that's what we're in the experimental period right now of this podcast, and I think we're just gonna be doing a lot of really cool stuff that we enjoy to make, and we hope that you enjoy it as well. And like you said, we're going to be starting off with sports. Sports isn't going anywhere, but it is really cool to, kind of make that step forward and try to do some different things, maybe go outside and off the couch and film in, the outside world and show more of our friends. I think that's going to be a big part of this Rock Solid Summer, as well as kind of introducing you to a lot more of our lifelong friends that have been really supportive in this, and you'll see a lot of them. You've already seen a bit of Morgan on Instagram. You're going to see a lot more come the 999 challenge that we're doing.
Yep.
You're going to see a lot of people doing that. So I think it's really cool that we're going to be bringing a lot more people in on certain things, and you'll be able to kind of see more into our lives than just, this every Tuesday us coming down and sitting on this couch to talk about sports. So I think it's really exciting step forward, and I'm excited for you guys to see it and experience it.
Hey, it's going to be a fun ride.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I got to say. Just stay tuned.
yeah. Regardless if you watch, we're gonna be fun as shit. So
We're gonna have fun, and we're going to record it. So,
So at least we get to watch it at some point. But if you guys don't have anything else, we'll wrap it up. All right. Well, go tell somebody you love them. I might just make their day. Happy 4th of July and peace.
Peace.
peace.